What's going on, guys? Welcome back to NolanTCG, and we are back here today for another deck profile, and this time, it's for Altergeist. So given that we're still at the start of the current format, things are still relatively undefined. Actually, no, correction. They're still pretty well defined because it didn't change that much, but looking for diversity, it's always good to go back to a nice stun deck that a lot of things have a lot of problems with, and that, of course, is Altergeist. We are playing more of a build that can either go first or second. You will traditionally not mind going second. We are playing like stuff like the Evenly and the Faker, of course, that's good combo, as well as Impermanent Faker, of course, good combo. We'll get to that when we get to that, though. But yeah, at the moment, we're at a decent format. This is kind of built for Blazer Vortex, Burst of Destiny, that's it. This is a pre-Burst of Destiny build, so you may want to make some tech changes and different changes to your list when that does happen. So do remember that when you get to this profile. But, as always, before I get started, please remember to drop down below and hit that subscribe button if you are new here, because we are always happy to have new people on the channel. And, let's get on into the deck profile. Before we do get started on this one, though, it is brought to you, of course, by yourplaymat.com, who got us our beautiful NolanTCG extra deck sleeves. These are available on yourplaymat.com, as well as you can get custom sleeves and custom playmats, so whatever you need for the current format. There is an affiliate link in the description down below that does get you a little bit of a discount on your order. Also, enter the code NOLAN10YP. for 10% off your order. Also kicks back a little bit to the channel, so everything will be very much appreciated. If you're shopping there, you're getting custom sleeves, custom playmats done. Make sure to enter our code at checkout. But let's get on into this deck profile. Okay, so starting us off, we of course start with the best card in the deck, the card that got put to 3 just so there was something on a ban list. It is 3 copies of our Altergeist Multi-Faker. Pairs really well with other choices that we've made in the deck. Of course, it is a trap deck, so it's always going to pair well with trap cards. But we have trap cards that we can play on our own turn for pretty much free. And then, yeah, Faker do fun times. Fun times mean bounce, because next up we have... No, we're not putting out... That'll come after. So next up, we've got our 3 copies of Meluseek. This is my preferred normal summon, just because it does get you so much advantage. Can attack direct, gets the send, and then as well you can get the add when you send it to the graveyard. Pretty much your entire extra deck is going to be set up to get this card in your graveyard. Then after that we go into our Altergeist Marionetta. I almost just said Paleozoic Marionetta, because my brain is like trap cards. Trap cards mean paleo. We can't say other cards than paleo or frog. But yeah, we've got 3 copies of Marionetta. This is going to be our typical normal summon to get our Altergeist traps directly from the deck. I do keep in mind it does have the other effects. I always ignore the other effect. I'm just like, it doesn't matter. We're just using this card to normal summon get traps, but actually it's pretty good. Then after that we have our bounce. That is our 2 copies of Silk. Free bounce off the Multi-Faker. Recycle Multi-Faker, Multi-Faker again. And the 1 copy of Kunquiri comes after that. Of course, the Kunquiri we're going to be using to basically just stall out our opponent and try and just hold them back while we can get more resources. Then last of the monsters is our monster-based hand trap. That is, of course, 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joy Spring. Do always change this as to whatever your locals requires. It's just occurred to me this deck has gotten significantly cheaper than in the past, given that we've just gotten Impermanence in the structure deck. So, it's something you can definitely check out. Probably should have said that at the start and not remembered that halfway through the video. Then, though, we do get into our spell lineup. I did strongly consider playing Secret Village of the Spellcasters in this build and make it more of a going first style build, but in the end I decided to make it going second. So that does mean we do have a reasonably slim spell lineup. That is 3 copies of Pot of Prosperity, just to try and dig us through our deck, as well as 1 copy of Pot of Duality. Something you can also consider playing is something like a 1-for-1 to try and tool your Meluseek out of the deck, but at the moment, we've just kind of settled with this lineup. Then we get into our traps after that. So starting us off with our Altergeist traps, we have the one that's not searchable, and that is 3 copies of our Personal Spoofing. Hopefully you don't get hand trapped on this, otherwise life could get a little bit tough, but hey, life should still be good because you have trap cards set, and trap cards mean trap cards, and trap cards make your opponent rage quit. Then for the rest of it, we've got 2 copies of our Altergeist Protocol, as well as 1 copy of Manifestation. I often will mess around with the ratios on this, but at the moment I've settled for the 1 Manifestation, 2 Protocol, simply because you do have that Manifestation bounce kind of loop. At the same time, if it gets like hard removed by stuff like Cosmic that's in the format, it can kind of mean you've lost the game, so I would strongly consider like upping it to 2 if you can find the space in the list. I would probably just cut something that comes at the end of the list to fit that second Manifestation into the deck. Then for the rest of our traps, we have the more generic stuff. These are the things that we can use going first or second. That is our 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Of course, activate it from the hand with the Faker. Good times. The second card you can activate from the hand to blow out your opponent is our 3 copies of Evenly Matched. You can't use this going first. That's a bad idea. Going second, though, Really, really good. Of course, blow out your opponent, summon the Faker, blow out your opponent even more, and then laugh at them, because that will be very funny. Then we go into our trap cards that need to be set after that. We are, of course, playing 2 copies of Compulsory Evacuation Device. I said, of course, like that's an obvious choice. The reason why I really like playing Compulse at the moment in the format is because it is essentially a free bounce against Tri-Brigade. They have a real tough time dealing with 2 outs to their summon. So thus we play the 1 copy of Compulse because it's a direct out to their summon. Then we go into our counter traps after that. We've got our 2 copies of Solemn Strike, followed up with our 2 copies of Solemn Judgment. Again, all of these cards you can mix around with the ratios with. I just like the 2-2 ratio at the moment, given that I am playing an Imperial Order, which we'll just put out now. I don't want to go too low in life points too quickly. Hitting a Judgment and an Imperial Order can be a little bit sacky, but if you go like Judgment, Imperial Order, then you're in a bit of trouble. You're not going to have much life points to pay at all. And then lastly, we have the 2 cards that are the 39th and 40th cards of the deck. It's 2 copies of Dogmatica Punishment. It can come up where this card locking you out of your extra deck means you're going to have a bad time, but it is just a free double pop, essentially, when we're playing out Entis, so it's something you do just have to deal with. Okay, that now brings us to our extra deck, and of course, starting us off is our triple copies of Altergeist Hextia. It's just, like, probably your best link, just because it's a negation. It's an archetypal-based negation. It's really, really good. Because we're playing the Pros, we don't mind banishing one of these off this. You can cut it to 2 if you want to find more space, but realistically, you're playing the Prosp anyway, you need cards that you're going to just, like, randomly banish, and that's just, randomly banish, and that's, of course, your Hextia, one of those. You just need to have at least 1 in rotation at all times. Then for our low-level links, this is to get our, typically our Meluseek off the board. That does mean we have our 2 copies of Link Rebo. I should really get a second Ultra, because it quite annoys me. Then we have our 2 copies, just 1 copy of Almirage. I remembered, I cut that. So yeah, we're just at 1 copy of Almirage after that. This is for your normal summon monsters with 1,000 or less. Typically, it will still be the same card. Then we have 1 copy of Relinquished Anima. Same utility again, except you can steal stuff. And then we have the 1 copy of Artemis, the Magistus Moon Maiden. Again, same theory. Everything is spellcasters. You just want to get a Link monster into the grave. But the Magistus does feed into a certain other play that we're running. So that then does bring us to our Link 2s. And essentially, we're using these as a Link climb. We have our 1 copy of Heater, the Fire Charmer Ablaze, and 1 copy of Liner, the Light Charmer. So effectively, we're using these with the Salamangreat Almirage and the Artemis to link climb through our access code package. So that does mean we then feed into 2 Selene after this. So we're effectively going from one to the other. So we're effectively going from one to the Charmer to then toolbox out our opponent's graveyard. Then we get into our Selenes, and then our Selene can hopefully reborn with the spell card ratios that we have, or spell cards that we have on hand. That could be a little bit difficult, but hey, it's okay. We do go then into our access code after that. And then lastly, these are the 2 other cards. These can be cut if you cut the punishment. We have our 1 copy of Entis and 2 copy of Entis. But that does wrap us up here for the deck profile for this one. So as always, if you do have any recommendations or things you would change, do make sure to comment them down below. Given that we are moving into a new kind of defined meta with Burst of Destiny, do comment down below what things you would put in the deck to kind of stop stuff like Sword Soul and stuff like Flundereese, as well as you got Live Twins. You got a whole bunch of stuff that's going to be making Trap Deck a lot more difficult to Trap Deck with, because you need to Trap Deck your opponent's counters to your Trap Deck. That was definitely a rant. No, that was just a bit of a spiel. But yeah, as always, hit that subscribe button. And as always, I've been Ben from NolanTCG, saying and always a lot. And have a good afternoon, everybody.